Yo, and welcome back to the Banter Boys podcast. My name is Sanji. With me is Ross. How you doing, Ross?
Welcome. I'm alright.
What do you mean you're alright? You beat me. You had like the most epic turn of results and everything went your way. You're just alright?
Everything did go my way. You're right. Like, I felt, even after going up against a 51-pointer Chris Wood, I was still able to come out with the victory, man. Like, that's super unlucky on your part. And if I had lost, it would have been super unlucky on my part, because, like, that's, like, almost half your score, but...
Well, I mean, I'm glad at least the Chris Wood thing happened between us, right? You know?
Yeah.
We'll bear that bad news bears or whatever.
Pretty much.
But how was your weekend otherwise? Good?
Yeah, good, man. There's just, like, so much going on in the world, bro. Like, I thought last week was hectic, and then, like, it hasn't stopped at all, man. It's crazy.
It is pretty crazy right now. Everything good otherwise, right? Family, you know?
Yeah. Hopefully,
How's the pandemic situation on your end? Any updates?
Personally, like, it's been pretty, like, good in the sense that, like, I got vaccinated, my parents got vaccinated, but, like, overall, as, like, a community and, like, a province and a country, it's bad, man. Like, it's it's on the verge of, like, humanitarian crisis with how bad it is, man.
Yeah, I mean, even things in India are pretty bad with, like, that whole oxygen issue.
Yeah.
That they had in the hospitals as well, so...
Oh, man. Like, some of those...
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Let's not get into it, or else... Like,
let's not make it a depressing episode.
People might stop listening if we continue.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Ross. Let's get started then. You want to remind listeners how they can message us and find our podcast?
Yeah, so you can message us on Twitter and Instagram. Our handle is @BanterB. On Discord too, under the Draft PL Discord channel. Our username is BanterBoys #6585. And on Reddit, our username is u/banter_boys. You can listen to us through Anchor FM, which we used to distribute to Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. We also distribute on SoundCloud, and we are on YouTube, all under the name of Banter Boys.
Yeah, man. We started getting views on YouTube now. We are at a massive 2 subscribers.
Nice.
So, I mean, listeners, if you watch stuff on YouTube, like, go give us a follow. Just go click some likes on some videos, you know, drop some comments. It's not for the numbers. It's just more so just, you know, motivation to kind of keep us going. Just so, you know, we're not just talking to thin air. All right, Ross. So, let us welcome listeners to episode number 40. I can't believe we're at 40 already.
Is that a milestone?
Yeah. I mean, we'll celebrate the milestone when we get to 50, yeah?
Can we hit 50 before the end of the season?
I think unlikely. Maybe at the start of next season.
Yeah.
That would be dope, right?
That would,
like,
yeah.
First episode.
Like, first episode,
50th.
yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, just so you know, we cover draft-related, EPL draft-related game on the Fantrax platform. We do, however, get questions related to OFPL draft, and we're more than happy to discuss that stuff. And, you know, we might dabble in it next season. We'll see how our schedules are and stuff. But yeah, anything draft-related EPL, that's what we do. All right, Ras, before we get started with the layout for this week's episode, where, you know, first half we're going to do league catch-ups, Twitter questions, injury updates, take our halftime pint, and then in the second half, do the Game Week 33 discussion, Game Week 34 predictions with our picks for your free agents and waiver wires, right?
Yep.
All right, so some data dump. Just some numbers from the week that kind of went by. For key passes, Luke Shaw again, first, right? With 5 key passes. Yeah, I mean, when you're taking all the corners for United, it's super easy.
And you just have to aim for, like, Bruno.
Maguire's big slab head.
Yeah, sorry, not Bruno. Maguire. I don't know, why am I saying Bruno? Actually, yes, Bruno, if you, like, throw it at, like, the edge of the box or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
but mostly Maguire. I meant Maguire.
Does that lower Bruno's value though now? Like, do we expect Luke Shaw to be taking all the corners next season now?
Yeah, like I don't think there's gonna be like that Kevin De Bruyne-esque return of like 20 key passes just from corners or whatever, right? So
yeah, and especially if Pogba's fit, like we've seen the effect that Pogba has on him, right? So, all right. I mean, for key passes, like second highest, there was a tie, a three-way tie, for 4 key passes each between Kelechi, Salah, and Target. Target started taking corners again. I don't know if you noticed that in the Aston Villa
I saw that. Bertrand Traore, John McGinn, and Ross Barkley took a couple, but yeah, it was mostly Target again. Like remember, like last season, he took a bunch.
Yeah, that's true. So maybe he's gonna do it for all you managers for the playoffs. So looking at shots on target. So there was a 4-way tie for the highest number of shots attempted. Between Mane, Mount, Timo Werner, and Chris Wood. But in terms of who got it on target the most, Wood got it on target the most. 5, obviously. Makes sense. Right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Mason Mount had 3 on target, Timo Werner had 2 on target, and Mane had 1 on target. That also makes sense. And lastly, we look at accurate crosses into the box. There was a 3-way tie as well for the highest number this week. It was 3. The people that got it were TAA, Matty Target again, and Charlie Taylor. He's back for Burnley.
Yeah.
Didn't get any attacking returns, got the clean sheet, but put up a massive haul, almost as many points as Loughton did. And I think Loughton got an assist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So one to watch out for. He's under 50%, you know, just putting that out there. All right, so let's catch up with our leagues now, Ross. Let's kick things off with trades. So a trade went down each in both of our leagues. We'll first talk about the trade that you were a part of, and I was very interested in this trade because it was a player that I myself was interested in, was potentially going to get him. And you ended up, I believe it's a permanent trade between you and Danny. You guys, I think Danny got Zinchenko. He gave away Azpilicueta, right?
Yeah.
So you got Azpi. How are you feeling about that trade? Why did you do that trade?
It was, I guess, more in the moment. Like Daniel was like, "Give me Zinchenko," and I was like, "Give me Aspi," and he was like, "Sure." And then it kind of just like it literally was like 2 minutes, not even, and then we agreed to a trade.
Yeah, I know Danny's been very high on Zinchenko all season, so
yeah.
it must have been like I guess a trade that he just wanted to get done no matter what.
Exactly. Yeah. I got really lucky because SP played fullback over
right wingback.
James. Right wingback. Yeah, sorry, wingback. So not playing that third defender, playing that third CB, playing that right wingback spot.
He actually did it tonight versus Real Madrid.
Exactly. Yeah, I was just gonna say he was also right wingback again tonight. I don't know if he'll carry over to the weekend because we know Tuchel still likes rotating his squad, but you know. Good signs if you're an Aspi owner that, like, you know, it's not just clean sheet dependent anymore. We know Azpilicueta has that attacking threat. The other trade that we did that happened, Kyle and Ryan are just trading players amongst each other, right? Like, they feel like...
I don't know, what, collusion?
Yeah.
Is it collusion?
I don't know. So, it's a bit weird.
Yeah, so... I mean, okay, so like Ryan, I think officially might not be able to make playoffs now because Kyle won this week. Like, we'll catch up in a bit about that. But it's basically like Kyle is in playoffs guaranteed. Ryan is like miracle barring, he gets in.
Yeah.
So Ryan traded away Aubameyang. So basically Kyle has Auba for the last few games, right? And Ryan has Vardy. So, I mean, Kyle is pretty much preparing his squad for the playoffs, right? Mm-hmm. Vardy has, like, those tough 3 fixtures at the end, while whoever managers are in playoffs. And Aubameyang is coming back from malaria, no Lacazette. Eddie Nketiah is pretty much the only striker that is competing for that number 9 spot, right? So maybe Auba goes on like a little bit of a late run. They've got decent fixtures as well, right? Unless, you know, they make it all the way to the EL final and they want to bubble wrap players as well. Mm-hmm. So it's an interesting trade for sure. Like, who do you think might have benefited more though in that trade?
Ryan got Vardy.
Yes.
Ryan benefited.
So he needs a really massive points for total.
Yeah, no,
for him to have a chance at getting in. So he was banking on the boom or bust Vardy.
It's assuming that like there's not a massive total from also like the other players who are also on like 51 points, right? So I think it's like a difference of like 200 or something. So
like 140, I think.
Which is
something like a little.
It's
it was
impossible.
Like, when I saw it, I was like, it's a lot, but it's not impossible.
Yeah. Like it's definitely like he would need to get like back-to-back 150 plus points, and assuming that the other person loses both games and like gets no more than like 20-30 points or something. So
so he just basically needs to trade teams with you.
Yeah. Oh man, you know my team's
162 this week.
You know my team's been beasting, bro.
Yeah, they've been smashing it. All right, just a little more chit chat before we see how we actually did in our leagues this week. Were your teams affected by the blank game week much?
Banter boys, no Reg, no Bale. And for the OG league, no Reg, no Ederson, no Rodrigo. I traded away Zinchenko, so it wasn't too bad. But like I was still able to put up like a strong 11. Had to do a couple of drops, which worked out for me at the end anyways. So
so like for me, I think OG league I was missing 2 people like Ore and KWP. Big players, I'm not gonna lie, to miss.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of sucked because whoever I had as well didn't really start games or missed out due to injuries, etc. And in the Banter Boys League, I think I was fairly settled. Like, I think I had Ore and I had Jesus, but because we have auto subs in that league, it kind of just worked out. I was like happy to have blank players in a sense. But you talk about dropping players, important players, and having to pick them back up, and we've gotten to this part of the season where it might not be a good idea that, let's say you have a player in your squad, but he's on the bench and you want to keep him because, oh gosh, I'm afraid I won't get him back later. It's gotten to the point where I've realized that I'm having to drop players, possibly even like Marcos Alonso, because he's not starting games and he's taking up extra roster spots so that when, it comes to like the last 2 games of the game week and I need to grab a decent player, I don't have any more spots open in my team, right?
Yeah. Like I know you and I played against each other, and I was actually like not like surprised to the sense that like Aurier is a good, like you dropped Aurier when we were playing up, but like it's smart in the sense that like I get him back, I don't get him back, but I gotta try to win, right? It's like make or break essentially. So
exactly, and that's the point. And the thing is, the reason why I'm comfortable to do it is because I have the 3rd highest total, I believe, in terms of FAAB dollars still.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I think majority of our league, people either have 0 FAAB or 1 FAAB.
Yeah.
And the managers that are loaded completely are not active or using their FAAB money. So that's why I thought, I can afford to drop players, take bigger risks, because I have control over the market, let's call it that. And honestly, this is one of the reasons why I love FAAB so much and why we got to try out FAAB this season.
Yeah.
This is the kind of benefit to it you see, right? That even though you might not get players during the season, it's still beneficial to hold on to money towards the end.
Yeah, no, like I had the $1 single and I used it on Callum Hudson-Odoi. And I guess the other person that bid on Callum Hudson-Odoi bid $1 or $0, and I was either higher on waiver priority. I didn't get a chance to see what the failed bids were, but I'm glad I got Callum Hudson-Odoi because, like
it's a good pick.
It's a good pick. Hopefully he starts next game, right? And if he doesn't start, I'll drop him, man. Daniel can pick him up back if he wants to.
All right, so you know what? Let's start with our OG League. Ross,
do you want to?
You won.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we should. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off,
It was a close game.
It was
too close.
It was a very emotional matchup, I'm not gonna lie. In a sense that like the twists and the turns that we were getting, like
It was
How did you feel when Chris Wood got me 51 points and back in the game week?
you know what? Like, cause that was the first game on the Sunday morning, and I was like, you had Rui Patricio and Willy Bolly, so and I messaged you this. I was like, the only solace that I have is whenever Chris Wood got the goal or assist, you got a -4 as well. So I was like, you know what? It could have been worse. Had you not had one of those players, it would have been almost drawn, right? So
funny enough, you talk about that negative points. If you add up those 4 goals to both of them, what is that?
16.
16?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that would have been the win for me.
That would have been the win. But like, honestly, it started off super, like, you had 3 players playing on the Monday, on the Friday, right? And I was...
Well, yeah. And that's another thing that I was worried about, having too many players in that first game, right? It was the Arsenal versus Everton one.
Yeah.
I had DCL, I had Saka, and I had Digne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just had Partey who gave me good 9.5 points, which was like, good. But then like, I think Saturday is when I started like just pushing away because Robert...
You should have pulled away, right? Your boys didn't come through for you. Like your team should have had like 10
goals, a couple of assists, like honestly, I'm not lying. I was dreaming that Liverpool were just tearing Newcastle apart. And to a certain extent they were. But they weren't not scoring their chances. And we'll talk about it later, but like I think at the end of Saturday, because Timo Werner had a really good game with the goal, even though he had the yellow card. Azpilicueta had the clean sheet and had a couple of good attacking returns, ended up with like 15 or 17 something odd points. And who else was my third? Who was my second striker? Yeah, Jota and Robertson had decent returns. And like by the end of Saturday, it was like 64 to 34 or 66 to 34. And
yeah, you had a good lead on me.
Yeah, and both of us had the same number of players playing left.
Yeah. So, I mean, it really sucked that, like, Alonso didn't start for me, Ziyech didn't start for me, Moutinho was out injured. So I had to, like, scrap and pick up players like Adam Webster. Didn't help that Brighton lost a clean sheet, as soon as the game started as well.
Still a decent return without the clean sheet, like 7.5 points.
Yeah, 7.5, almost got an assist for that motor offside goal as well, right? But I had to, like, again, talk about, I didn't drop the likes of Alonso, Ziyech or any of those guys, so I had to go for, like, last minute picks of, like, Luke Thomas and Luka Milivojevic. So, when you're that desperate and trying to clutch on for a win, it was those guys versus Johnny Evans and Kasper for you. And I know we joked about watch Leicester lose the clean sheet. And I said it on the predictions last time, for sure, man. Leicester just going, fuck the clean sheet, and it happened. And you were like, bro, definitely you won. And I'm like, nah, man, like, I do not trust Luke Thomas or Millie. And they both came up early as well.
They both came up early. And, man, Johnny Evans, like, even before the assist, he had, like, 7.5, 8 points, and I was like, whoa, man, this guy, he's been gone good form, and like I'm like, had I played him the couple weeks before, I would have like essentially like cemented my playoff thing, but like
playoff spot, yeah. I mean, but GG, congratulations on your 3 points, and I mean, we talk about how every other result swung your way. Your elder brother, who was, I guess 1 point behind you,
1 point, no, 1 point ahead of me.
Ahead of you. Yeah. He ended up losing his matchup, right? So now he's 2 points behind you. I lost my game to you. Zubain, who I was tied with, ended up winning his game. So he's now 3 points ahead of me. So just to catch you guys up on the table right now, Neeraj, I don't know how he ended up losing. I guess he's just accepted and chilling, bro. I'll wait for playoffs, like first spot sealed.
He's resting his players so then they're fresh for the playoffs.
Yeah, basically, right? So he's in first place, 63 points. Daniel is on 58 points. There's a chance Daniel could even get that first spot, right?
Yeah.
He's on a 3-game winning streak right now. Khayyam, however, is in a 3-game losing streak. He's in third place on 57 points. Zubain is tied with him, 57 points, right? And then there I am in 5th place, 54 points. Ras, you are in 51 points. You're in 6th, propping up the playoffs table, right?
Yeah.
So your brother is there with 49 points, and then, Zayn and the rest 45 and below. So even I am not like secured for
Fully
playoffs.
safe,
And
yeah.
I had a joke with you off air when we first started the podcast and the season. I was like, Ross, I have a very strong feeling I might not make playoffs. Bro, I honestly still think I might not make playoffs. Like,
But in your favor, you're playing Rafa and Urva, who are 10th and 9th, right?
yes.
My brother's playing Zen and someone.
Hold on, I'll pull it up right now.
Yeah.
So for the next game week, your older brother who's behind you by 2 points, he's playing Zayn, and then he's playing Kayam.
Yeah, so I'm playing Khayyam and then I'm playing Rafe. So, you know what? Now both of us have like essentially like the same strength of fixtures. Now I think technically he has the stronger, he's going up against the two stronger teams than me because I'm facing the person who's 10th and he's facing the person who's 6th, 8th. So
yeah, I mean, I only need one win to secure my playoff spot. One out of 2 matchups. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be a bit wild because of like the double game week talk that is coming up and stuff like that. So we'll see how it goes. All right, let's jump across to the Banter Boys League now. Mr. Ross, I'll let you get us kicked off with your 162 points.
So I was actually looking back last 3 game weeks in our Banter Boys League. I've had the highest. Like I think you had the highest score before that, and then I've had the highest score in the last 3 game weeks, and it's like my team is on some really good playoff form, man. Kalechi's on fire. Tielemans is on fire. I had Bale come in that one game. Chilwell, he's coming in clutch too. Nat Phillips is pretty good. Melier's been like, just like keeping clean sheets and like making key stops and everything. So like my team was like, I was so happy with my team this game week. Because, I had in my defense, who was it? In my defense,
you had Ben Chilwell, El Mohammedi, Johnny Evans, and Luke Shaw.
You have my team open up, yeah. So Luke Shaw, like you talked about when you were talking about the stats for this one. I have Luke Shaw, I have Kalechi, I have Mane in all 3 of these players. I'm like my team is just like
29 key passes.
Fingers crossed, man, salt over the shoulder, my team, knock on wood.
It is the ghost point machine team.
At the moment, man.
At the moment, yeah. You put up some massive numbers. And, you have Dani Ceballos, Pulisic, Tielemans all chip in with ghost points as well. The worst score on your team was Bamford, 0. The second worst score was an 8. So, like everything else was just, you nearly doubled your opponent's score, right? That's how pretty much your week went.
Yeah.
I mean, I also scored above 100 again, and I'm not gonna brag, but, it was okay. I wasn't too worried about my team because, auto subs kind of fixed everything up for me.
Yeah.
Matty Target being on corners helps with his ghost points. I had Luka Dean, Matthias Pereira also went off, getting his, standard penalty goal. Sam Johnston, with 9 saves, even though they conceded 2 goals, helped massively. Ollie Watkins keeps chipping away. And you know what? I was also able to enjoy that Timo Werner goal. And I know, you were like, oh man, but you conceded, but you scored. And honestly, I was just happy that Timo scored and it wasn't offside, bro.
Yeah.
And what a fucking important goal. 6-pointer game, right? So...
yeah.
It's for his confidence. I mean, at least, his finishing isn't as bad as some of his jokes. So
yeah. Well, I was just gonna mention it. His post-match interview and kudos to this guy. I know he's not super liked in Germany for some parts, but his post-match interview, the interviewer asked him, you had the really good couple of other chances that you could also scored. So Timo Werner responds, yeah, but if I scored 2, people might get... Oh man, I forgot it. Sanjay, I told it to you last.
It was basically people get too excited, right? Yeah. So I gotta make sure that they gotta realize that the world is still normal, etc., etc. But he joked about missing that easy chance. I mean, so typical Werner is still there, but I mean, it's they always say about good strikers, right? Even if you're going through a bad patch or whatever, you just keep putting yourself in that right spot. Keep taking those chances, keep shooting the ball, eventually they're just gonna start flowing, right? It's the same way, like, you've seen Salah have really bad patches this season, right? But then there's at times where Salah will just start hitting hat tricks or braces like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. So we look at the standings, Ross. We are both on 4 and 5 win game streaks. The only person who has a bigger one at the moment is Ryan. Unfortunately, his 6 win streak was not able to like secure that sort of playoff spot because there's only 2 more game weeks left, right?
Yeah.
And there's still a 6-point gap between him and both 5th and 6th spot, right?
Yeah.
So 5th and 6th spot tied on 51 points each. Actually, no. Kyle is also tied with them on 51, right? So there's 3 people tied on 51. And then there's you in 3rd spot with 60 points. So healthy gap, right? I'm still ahead of you by 3 points. And I know you're really trying to get one of those top 2 spots. And you're hoping it's me. But I think it should be safe for me if I get at least one more win because I have that points 4 total, right? And then Partalos as well in 1st spot with 72 points.
Well, yeah. Yeah, no, I was and I'm going up against you this next game week. So if I win, I can hopefully, get you off your perch, as Sir Alex Ferguson once said. So
it's very, very possible. All right, let us look at the perfect 11 now. We didn't really have a good start to our perfect 11.
No,
if you
it was
remember.
pretty bad.
So, the first game was the Arsenal-Everton game, right? We decided to... Well, we discussed the idea of bringing in ESR and bringing in, what's his face? James, right.
Yeah.
So we didn't end up bringing in ESR. He ended up, I think, getting like 0.25 points or like 1 point or something like that. We went with James, but James decided to get 0 points. So he didn't do any better, right? But I mean, the entire week, like, we ended up, I would say, 101.5 points altogether.
That's
I'll run
good.
through the team that we ended up selecting. Yeah, it's fairly decent. So we had Robert Sanchez in net. We all know how that clean sheet went. He only got 2 points in the end. We had Trent, Luke Shaw, and Veltman as our defenders. Not bad, right? Luke Shaw getting a massive 21.25 in that backline. Our midfield was a 4-man midfield with Bruno, Maddison, Pulisic, and James, like we mentioned. So not the most amount of points, right?
Yeah.
We kind of went with Bruno because Pogba didn't start. So we thought, maybe Bruno will be on all the set pieces, all the corners, yada, yada, yada. And then, the front three it kind of just was obvious, right? Go with the Leicester boys because they're kind of just on some serious form, Kelechi and Vardy. And then Traore, you can't go wrong, right? He's just going to get a bunch of ghost points from dribbling.
Yeah.
So we look at the standings. I think we were around 64th or 62nd last episode. So we're now like 58th. So again, we're
chipping away.
Kind of going up. Yeah, chipping away, make another green arrow if you want to call it. But yeah, the person who's in first spot, 850 points. In total, we're on 692. Again, I think, it's very possible to have a 200-point game week in Fantrax. I mean, you're living proof of being 40 points away from that, right? So, Ross, you keep advising us on the team for this, and I think, we're going to have a solid finish to the...
2 heads are better than 1, right? So...
There you go. All right, Ross, let us look at the Twitter questions that we've received from listeners now.
So, first of all, before we start with the questions, special shout out to Peltier at Metal Cleek. He was responding to us, and he was one of our... This was his tweet. One of our OG listeners made a pick that didn't work out. I think it was Walcott versus Spurs, but he really appreciated the love, though, and he wants us to keep us going every week. So, yeah, thank you.
No, that's what I typed, by the way. So you might want to... You can redo that part. No worries. So basically, this guy was one of our OG listeners. When we first hit up SoundCloud, I don't know if you remember, it was like one of the first few comments that we got, right?
Yeah.
So it was just nice for him to like drop us a comment about one of the players that we made, like one of the players that we suggested, and it feels really good to know that that ongoing support and that love is still there. Yeah, so thank you so much, Peltier. Really appreciate it, mate. Ross, the other special shout out, if you want, you can drop that one.
Yeah, so Prashant, Sanjay, I know you engage more because he's a Chelsea fan, but like honestly, one of like, you know, consistent, like, you know, it's a good mixture of like encouragement and like good criticism, right? Like, hey, like challenging us appropriately, so it's not just like like, you know, like we don't get too complacent.
Yeah. I love that. I really do love it. And that's just speaks volumes of the type of community that we have, right? In the draft version of the game.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ross. So let's run through those questions.
Okay, so first question from Oasis Volley at Aussietron. Is Jose done managing in the EPL, or can you see him managing any other EPL team in the future?
I feel like it's time for him to go manage like an international team now.
No one more stint at Chelsea?
Oh, bro, shut up, bro. Come on, bro. No way. I can't. My heart won't be able to take that, mate. Like, nah. No way, Jose. See what I did there?
Yeah. I think yeah, international is definitely a really good shout for him, but I think he might be able to go and do like a PSG or something.
Yeah, he's no way is he gonna take like a relegation job or like a mid-table job.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see him do it. I mean, that would maybe he would be able to like, you know, shut up the haters and all that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it would be interesting.
So thank you for asking the question. I think we missed it.
Thanks, Ozzy.
Yeah, I think we missed it from last week.
Posted it after we recorded.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So okay. I want to make sure that we got it this time.
Yeah. So this week we had Jagos Benito. Is that Ryan? Yeah.
That's Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan, yeah. So when will you guys start covering for Euros draft, CL draft, IPL draft, T20 World Cup draft, Olympics draft? Oh my. Actually curious on the first two, maybe three. Sandy, what do you think?
So, I mean, we talk off air. I know most likely you're gonna take a break. I want you to take a break as well if you can, because I know you've got a lot on your plate as well. But I've been having discussions with people that play Euro Fantasy a lot, people that play IPL a lot. So, I mean, there are talks going on right now that we're gonna do like filler episodes between the two EPL seasons just to kind of, you know, keep momentum going. Keep an eye on like assets, you know, that are playing in the Euros. You know, if there's a serious injury or if there's a serious pickup in form, stuff like that. So yeah, we will definitely do something related to the Euros for sure. Champions League possibly, because I mean I already play Champions League fantasy, like I've been playing regularly for the last few seasons. Yeah, so I mean we could also do like chats and stuff about that, but I think at the end of the day we're gonna stick to like EPL sort of thing. So if we do cover any other sports or competitions, it would just be like filler episodes. I think.
Filler episodes and how it can like give us knowledge about the EPL season.
Yeah. But I mean, if we do come across like other podcasts or other content creators that are, you know, doing stuff like this, we will just, you know, retweet them or repost them and, you know, share the love. Just share the work that people, you know, can benefit from. So, yeah, we'll try to provide as much help as possible.
Yeah. So, thank you, Ryan, for asking the question.
Thanks, Ryan.
Next question we have from Brandon at Brisbane Brando. What's the trade waiver strategy for all the impending double game weeks coming up? At Brent Creelin reported many in game week 35 could be make or break for some managers. What do you think?
Yeah, so Ben Crellin is basically one of the most famous guys in the FPL Twitter community. He does all the scheduling and predictions for all the blanks and doubles and is mostly correct. Like, he's always correct, pretty much, right? So he is the guru when it comes to scheduling. So, Ross, you can see in the notes that I have a picture up of the scheduling. And listeners, if you don't know what the schedule looks like, go find Ben Crellin on Twitter. He usually does post, like, free versions of his schedule and stuff. Also paid versions. You can pay him to, you know, help him run his sort of business and whatnot. But the teams that are predicted to have a double in Game Week 35 are Aston Villa, who are playing Manchester United and Everton. Crystal Palace will be playing Sheffield and Southampton. Everton will be playing West Ham and Aston Villa. Southampton will be playing Liverpool and Crystal Palace. Arsenal will be playing West Brom and Chelsea. Chelsea will be playing Man City and Arsenal. Leicester will be playing Newcastle and Manchester United. And Manchester United will be doubling up with Aston Villa and Leicester. So I'll just quickly run through the teams that are doubling, because all of that would have been a lot to absorb in one go. So Aston Villa, Crystal Palace, Everton, Southampton, Arsenal, Chelsea, Leicester, and Manchester United are the teams that are potentially going to double up in Game Week 35. So now the blanks that Brandon mentioned as well, potentially, there's potentially going to be some blanks in Game Week 36, potentially for Arsenal, Chelsea, Leicester, and Manchester United. So that's the entire picture. Again, the graphic, go pull it up on Ben Crellin Twitter, so it's easy to follow while we're talking about it. All right, Ross.
It would suck for managers who, in playoffs, have the likes of Bruno. If there's a blank week in Game Week 36, first game of the playoffs, and like they have like Bruno and Luke Shaw and, I don't know, Kelechi and Vardy,
Nacho, yeah.
You know, all these players. Yeah. Those are four big teams to kind of miss out players, man. I hope it doesn't happen.
I'm curious, what we talked about, players taking risky drops, pickups just to win a game week. Do you think there's a chance we might see Bruno on a waiver wire? I mean, Kayam, no offense, Kayam, if you're listening to this episode, mate, you do like to make these risky drops and pickups sometimes.
Yeah, but not since first or second season. So
he's gotten better for sure. Yeah. He's improved a lot as a manager.
I don't think you would drop Bruno for the sake of if you win.
I mean, that's what I'm saying though, right? What happens if it comes to that last game? You only have Bruno. You can drop him. Will you drop Bruno for that win, Russ? You're in the playoffs, mate. You have to.
Okay, so the scenario in this is that 10 of my players have played, and I have Bruno. But I feel like there are other players ahead of Bruno who I can drop before.
Probably. But I'm giving you a scenario in the sense that it's make or break. You have an undroppable player and it can give you the win. See, the opponent already played their 11, right? This is your guaranteed win if you have to drop a massive, first round, second round pick player. You're going to do it? You have to, don't you? For the win.
If I'm down by 2 points and I need to go pick up a player I don't know, Webster or something, then I would in that case.
Yeah.
I would rank them, be I can not drop Bruno. I cannot drop, I don't know, Vardy, but I can drop maybe Tielemans.
Yeah.
So hopefully I get him back.
The first few things that I can think about, and just because of the last few game weeks, how they've gone, is maybe be very careful about how you're setting up your lineup, right?
Yeah.
Kind of make sure you have someone to play every day. But at the same time, you don't want to wait until the last game and you don't have options to replace these players as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Sanji, you did that this game week.
Yeah, right?
This past game week. JWP.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Well, I dropped Aurier, right?
Because you dropped Aurier, but you made sure Moutinho didn't stay in your team and JWP came into your team. So if you had to make that change, you could have made that change on the last day, right?
Exactly, because the dud player gives you that flex with your squad, right? Because they're not locked in for that game week. Yeah. So maybe that's a good strategy to have for that blank game week 36 while you're in playoffs. Start all your dud players sort of thing, right? So that, especially in auto subs, right? Start your dud players. If you don't have auto subs, still kind of start your dud players, but be very careful about how you're lining out. Again, another lesson learned. If you have an early game, like how I had that Arsenal-Everton game and I had 3 players already play, maybe try not to have too many players from the same game as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing.
That's been my downfall for the 2 games before this, which I saw. I had Leeds and Liverpool playing, and that was 3-4 players, and I had so it was just one of those things where okay, I'm not gonna do the City Aston Villa game. I had 4 players and I played the wrong 3.
Yeah.
Or I played the wrong 2. So it's just one of those things where, hedge your bets essentially. Yeah, City might go off, but also trust your gut in terms of stats and just averages.
Yeah, and I mean, if you listen to us, we're gonna give you some hot picks to go for, and they tend to be pretty decent, right? Again, we just don't listen to our own advice. That's the only problem.
That's the only
But again,
problem.
strategies for like waiver wire. I mean, big one for me, I'll say off the bat, if you're playing in a league with FAAB, try and maybe hold on to some FAAB for that playoffs, right? Especially if other managers don't have money to spend and people are starting to change their squad just to get wins. Like, I think FAAB might make the difference in your playoffs as well.
It's a good point. So do you want to give me some of your FAAB?
Sell me ASP, bro.
For all your FAAB? Done, bro.
I mean, honestly, that is also another strategy though, Russ. It's a great point that you bring up. Maybe try and do some trades players for FAAB money, right? Or players plus FAAB for a better player sort of thing, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
To kind of give you that sort of coverage or that security that you're not going to be cornered into, Ross picking up Millie so that I can't pick him up for the last freaking game. I just remembered that.
Sanji, okay, so listeners, it's me and Sanji are going up, right? So this is how our game week was. I had Johnny Evans and Kasper Schmeichel. He just had Luke Thomas, and he had Soyuncu, so he could drop one of them and pick up a midfielder. Just to mess with Sanji, I picked up, and I'm in a meeting with my supervisor, and I'm doing this, and I really hope no one from work is listening to this, because I'd get in a lot of trouble. But I pick up Milivojevic right as the lineups come out. Like, it was so intense that I made a watch list the day before of all the midfielders that could play. Right? Because Sanjeev already, he couldn't play with one more defender and he had to play a third midfielder. So I pick up Milivojevic and Sanjeev messages me like, damn, bro, he's not even going to play. And then I was like, no, bro, I'm messing with you. I'm going to drop him. So like a few minutes later, I dropped him afterwards and Sanjeev picked him up,
It didn't make a difference, but
it did make a difference.
What a dick.
Yeah, man.
I mean, honestly, listeners, if you guys have ever done that, like, you've picked up a player just so you can screw over the other manager that they can't pick up to play against you, let us know. Or we should do a poll. Actually, let's do a poll about it. I'm curious how many dirty managers there are.
Not trades. Because I feel like people will do like trades, and I feel like there's a lot
sort of thing.
There's a lot of gray area in trades, but this is I feel like this is 100% legal.
Yeah, it is legal for sure. Yeah, but it's whether or not how much of a conscience you have and how much of a dick you want to be.
Yeah. Do you want to make or break friendships? Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. But it's all right. It didn't really affect anything at the end. All right. In terms of other strategies, out of the list of the clubs that are potentially going to double, is there anyone that you think is on the beach and maybe there's other clubs that maybe have a better single than clubs that have a double? Like the likes of Salah. Salah has the single fixture, but he's playing Southampton, I believe, in that game week, right? Southampton kind of on the beach. Salah's fighting for Golden Boot. You'd probably want to start Salah over maybe a double game week player like... I'm trying to think of a forward that is doubling up.
Timo Werner. Because he's going against Man City and Arsenal.
Perfect example.
Yeah.
Do you start Timo Werner or do you start Mo Salah? Oh, actually, no. I feel like that one's kind of too easy. Let me go Timo Werner or Sadio Mane. Because Sadio, we know, has had a very terrible season, right?
Yeah, and might get benched the one game too, right?
Yeah.
So,
right.
But if he starts...
And that's the other, so you gotta look out for that, right? Players
I'd go
single game weeks.
I'd go Timo.
Yeah, you go Timo, right? For the minutes.
Yeah, but let me put you in my shoes. I have Timo and Diego Jota, and if I had to choose one or the other, I would choose Diego Jota.
I would go for Jota. Yeah.
I would go, same.
Because you guys only have that one tournament, right? You gotta also look at the teams, what they're fighting for as well.
Yeah.
Right? Jota has only the league, and you guys need to score. And honestly, the way that you guys played against Newcastle, like, Jota could have had a hat-trick, so...
Bro, we could have scored 10 goals.
In the first half alone. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, so that's another thing. Brandon, you want to maybe consider single game week fixtures versus double. Sorry to keep repeating that, but it is a massive point that I think managers get distracted by. And Ross, again, another point that you like to reiterate when it comes down to double game weeks is that don't forget that your players that play the first game in that double get locked into their position, right?
Exactly. So, like, if I knew I think a few game weeks ago, like, this is super important where, especially if you have, like, duds to kind of have later on, right?
Yeah.
Gareth Bale didn't play the first game. He played the second game. And I benched him because I was like, he's not going to get any game time because he hasn't been getting any game time. Jose Mourinho gets fired after the first game. Kane gets injured the first game. Gareth Bale starts the second game.
That too,
and you're like, yeah, sure. Like, I need to somehow bring in Gareth Bale because he scored, in one game, got like 27 points or something. So keep an eye out for those things. So try keeping duds or try keeping, like Sanji said, trying to make sure you have players that you can possibly drop for the last day, like the Mondays or whatever. So keep an eye out for that.
So I think that's about it, like, we can think of, right? Because these fixtures are not confirmed for sure. This is like the rumor mill sort of thing. But, you know, once they come out, we're closer to Game Week 35, we'll have more refined discussions, answers, you know, strategies as well. So it's something that we're probably going to be discussing in the next episode or two. Alright, Ross, so let us run through now quickly the injury update table. So the information that we're getting, again, premierinjuries.com, it's on the injury table, and if you can't find it there, go follow Ben Dinnery on Twitter. He is the injury update guru, okay? So starting us off with Arsenal. So again, Tierney and Laka, they're still going to be out for the next few weeks, right? You might see them last game week of the season, maybe, right? That's a gamble for your playoffs. Auba and Luiz, though, they could be both back from their malaria and knee issues respectively. Aston Villa, Matty Cash should be back after completing his suspension. For Brighton, the same with Ben White. He should also have completed his suspension because they were both double yellow cards. For Burnley, Charlie Taylor is back, right? Other than that, nothing else. So you might want to go pick him up because I'm pretty sure he's under 50%. For Chelsea, Kovacic didn't make the Champions League squad, so he's still kind of working through his thigh injury. Everyone else is good. And again, we're not going to mention like the long-term injuries and repeats on that just for the sake of time and repeating ourselves. We're just going to kind of mention whoever's really just coming back or new injuries, right?
Possibly could come back, yeah.
Yeah, so to continue, Crystal Palace, Cahill didn't make that game versus Leicester. He was a maybe, so he could be back for the next game. For Everton, Michael Keane had like a little bit of a hamstring niggle. He's being assessed. Should be back though. Just like, you know, keep an eye on that. For Fulham, Kenny Tete should have recovered from COVID by now. So he want to watch out because he kind of rotates with Aina and Robinson. For Leeds, Liam Cooper is still suspended from his straight red. Rodrigo and Rafinha are still coming back from their injuries. They're still working back. Rodrigo being closer than Rafinha. And Helder Costa apparently was reported to have some sort of a knock or lower back issue or something. So being assessed, I don't think it's anything too serious. For Leicester City, nothing new. Guys who are injured are still injured. Liverpool, Nathaniel Phillips was supposed to make the game, but then I guess Klopp kind of saved him for a very important fixture, right? Manchester United up next. I'm assuming he's going to start that game, Ross?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, throw salt over your shoulder, everything. For Man City, John Stone's still serving his suspension. I believe he's going to miss the Crystal Palace game, but could be back for that Chelsea game. Or suspended for that too, because I know he missed out that the Carabao Cup final game
the League
as well,
Cup,
right?
Yeah.
So Manchester United, nothing new, no injuries or anything. Newcastle United, Lascelles out for the season. Willock can't play against Arsenal because of parent club issue. Fraser actually ended up having groin surgery, so he's gonna be out for 2 to 3 weeks, right? So this could be a chance for Willock to get more playing time, or you know, it kind of nails Miggy's spot in that squad, right? Sheffield United, nothing new. Don't know if you want to get players. Southampton, Teller had fatigue. Bertrand had a knock. He could make this game, might not make the game. Just keep an eye. Ings, the thigh injury, so he probably won't make it out. Spurs, the only person I think that has issues is Ben Davies. He might not be back for this game. For West Brom, no real injury concerns. West Ham, there's a few updates. Cresswell is getting closer to being back. Same with Masuaku. Dawson should be back following his suspension, the double yellow that he got. Declan Rice, again, you might want to watch and see his situation. Same with Antonio. And Balbuena, the red card got overturned.
Yeah.
Go figure, Stupid decision. And Wolves, the only issue is Moutinho is a maybe because he had an ankle issue that kept him out of the game versus Burnley. All right, Ross.
Sanjay, I do have one question. With Wolves, you saw that Neto got picked up in our Banter Boys League. Is it just for the sake of a dud, or is it...
I saw that. I got really worried. I thought, did we miss some news that we didn't cover? I think it's a dud, really. It could be a dud. I don't know if
let us know on our WhatsApp chat, bro.
Yeah, Kyle, why didn't you let us know why you picked up Pedro Neto? But yeah, those are the updates, right? Ross, I think now's the perfect time for us to take our halftime pint. And listeners, we will be back with predictions, picks, and more. All right?
Yeah.
See you in a bit. And we are back. Alright, Ross. So, prediction results from last week. We had a draw, mate. A 4-4. We haven't had one of those in a while.
A few game weeks ago.
Did we?
Three game weeks ago?
I feel like you've been losing a lot fewer prediction results as of recently.
I just yeah, bro, a 2-2 prediction can't go wrong, and I guess it essentially saved me from on the Aston Villa West Brom game, right?
Really
so
yeah, that man, I was like, when I was like marking the guesses, I was like, I cannot believe this guy guessed 2-2 for this game, man. I'm fucking mad. So upset. All right, so let us, like we did in the last episode, we're doing this new thing where we're just gonna do the mashups of the discussions, the predictions, the picks all together. And yeah, so there is another Friday deadline. All right, listeners. So make sure, if you're playing FPL, you got to set those teams up for Friday.
Hour and a half before,
yeah. So, I mean, we don't discuss FPL, but we'll give you FPL reminders. All right, so first game, Southampton versus Leicester. Let's catch up. Southampton haven't played in a few game weeks, right? Their last few games were the FA Cup against Leicester. They lost. And then they played Spurs, I think, like 2 game weeks ago. They lost that game 2-1 as well. That's the game that they lost Ings. McCarthy came back in net for them. There's one thing I did start to notice, though, about Southampton is 2 defenders I kind of want to talk about. Bednarek, one of them is someone you picked up this game week, right?
Yep.
He's been scoring well, even though he's conceding goals.
Yeah, that's the first thing that kind of popped up at me. Him and Kyle Walker-Peters
has been making really good runs into the box. That's the other defender I want to talk about, actually.
Yeah.
I feel like Kyle Walker-Peters is going to get an attacking return before the season finishes.
He's a free agent in one of our leagues, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I believe the Banter Boys League. Or probably the OG League, actually. But my issue is that I think Southampton are on the beach, right? And they're just going to concede goals and no Ings, and they're not really playing for anything. So that's why I was worried, or that was my only concern, to go pick up, like, let's say, either KWP or Bednarek. I feel like maybe there's other players that you should be focusing your energy on, potentially. I don't know. Leicester, though, the team that they're facing, we talk about Leicester. We, call them to concede. I'm just happy that I got that right. But the game that they had against Crystal Palace, their first half wasn't too good. I thought Maddison was quite poor. Tielemans kept losing the ball. Like, Palace were actually on it for the first half. They had a decent pressure, decent defensive system set up. But the second half, Leicester was too much for them. Kelechi was too much for them. Kelechi should have had a hat-trick of goals and a hat-trick of assists, right? And Crystal Palace seem to have this knack of conceding from their left side. Like, I can't count the number of defenders that have scored goals against Crystal Palace, and it's always right-sided defenders. Matthew Lowton, remember, scored a screamer against them. I think Joel Veltman also scored against them.
Yeah.
And now Mr. Castagne moved from the left to the right because Luke Thomas is playing.
Exactly.
Open the scoring. So, Ross, you want to make maybe a prediction for this game? How do you think this one is going to go?
1-3 Leicester. I think Kelechi's on really good form.
Yeah.
That's my only thing.
Yeah. But the thing is, I was thinking about this. So, I had Vardy as my captain in FPL this game week that went by. Everyone else in my league had Iheanacho. It was a painful one to kind of absorb. But I was thinking about why maybe Kelechi did better than Vardy. Because Vardy had a lot of chances to get assists and goals in this game, right?
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about maybe how the team set up defensively, right? Because the game before Crystal Palace, I believe Vardy had like a goal and an assist, or he got returns in that game, right?
Yeah,
and
he did.
The team that they played was, I'll tell you right now, West Brom. And West Brom weren't gonna just park the bus. They had to kind of go at them. They had kind of had to attack. But at the same time, West Brom also is fairly defensively sound, right? So I'm wondering if Kelechi is better suited to these defensive teams, whereas a team like Southampton, who will play with a high line, who will gen press, who won't defend per se, maybe Vardy benefits from a game like this, you know?
Yeah, I think it's a good point. I think at this point, regardless, Kelechi has found his golden boots, right?
Yeah.
Like he can't miss, even if you tried in these circumstances.
Yeah.
So, because like Kelechi, he might not get the goals, but he's still, like you said, he's providing key passes are still kind of racking up for him. He still has a good chemistry between him and Vardy, Tielemans, and with James Maddison also back. Like there's a lot of creativity amongst the four of them. So like maybe Vardy might be the better attacking output, but still start Kelechi.
Yeah.
Still play Kelechi.
For sure. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go with a 3-0 prediction for this one. Because I think if they're going to be missing Danny Ings, I think that takes a lot out of their attack. And just, it feels like Southampton's season is just kind of sputtering to a very unimpressive finish. Considering how they've played this season, right? And, I mean, they held 9 goals again this season, but hopefully that doesn't happen again in this game, right? Another 9-0, but I will go for 3-0. All right, let's talk about the picks, Ross. Who do you have from Leicester?
Again, Luke Thomas is there. Like, he's been all right. I feel like he's more clean sheet dependent. Al Brighton, he's 18% owned. Al Brighton, 20% owned. Doesn't start, but is a great impact stub for Leicester often, especially if they're down. So, like, I feel like if Leicester are down, Brighton will come on and try helping out, of like putting in like offensively. But if Leicester are up and you need someone to control the game, Brighton will come in and like kind of control the game, right? Yeah. So it's just kind of one of those things I've been noticing. So I don't think he'll still start. So, but if you play with auto subs like you said, and Leicester might be if Leicester get into trouble early in the game and aren't able to come out, Brighton might be a good pick for Rodgers to put in the game, because then he comes with instructions to go put the ball in the box, go put crosses in the box, because you've got two good strikers that can like finish for you. That's
a good point. The players that I'll suggest from Southampton, Bednarik, 50% owned, right? So there's a chance you might get him, might not get him. And Ras, we talked about him just now. It's because his ghost points are so good, even though he's conceding 2 or 3 goals.
Yeah.
So it could be one of those situations where, depending on how your league does scoring, your scoring system, he could either be a great pickup right now or maybe a risk not worth it. And the other person I kind of had my eye on was Nathan Redmond, 35% owned. He got benched the last game though. But if Ings is out injured, I feel like they need some of their best attacking players out there. And he was recently on a bit of a purple patch, so if he starts, maybe play him. But again, it's one of those things where Southampton is on the beach. He might play, but he could also just get 1 point, right? Southampton might just not do anything, roll over, and because Leicester's fighting for Champions League, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah. All right, let's look at the next day, Saturday, right? There's 4 games on that day, starting us off with Crystal Palace versus Manchester City. The notes that I have for Crystal Palace is really nothing. They're on the beach. Like, what the fuck are they really playing for? Like,
yeah. Right, like they're gonna give some fight, but eventually I think a team like if Leicester were able to kind of essentially like overpower them, then I feel like City will also be able to easily overpower them. The only thing I have, and we'll talk about it when we do our picks, is they'll do heavy rotation.
City,
like
Man City.
Yeah, City will do heavy rotation.
Yeah.
Like Pep essentially might field two different 11s, barring from maybe, I don't know, Ederson.
Because the semi-final against PSG is sandwiched, right? Around it, yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, just kind of one of those things. So that's like Crystal Palace. You're right. Like they're on the beach. They're essentially safe from relegation.
Yeah.
Like in the sense that, like, yeah, mathematically they could still go down, but it's not the battle is amongst them. The battle is amongst Brighton, Fulham, and West Brom.
Burnley.
But with Burnley's win over Wolves, it was like, I think they just escaped, not mathematically, but they just kind of escaped like the reality of it. So, and Man City again, like with rotation, but again, like Man City have the funds to field two completely different 11s. I feel like if Man City 1 and Man City 2 were to both be in the Premier League, both would be like, one would win the Premier League and one would be fighting for top 4.
Yeah, it's like Barcelona A and Barcelona B, right, in La Liga.
Yes. So,
I mean,
yeah,
the notes on Man City, they didn't play last week. They were one of the teams that blanked, right? So the games that they've played since then, they had the FA Cup versus us.
Yeah.
Right? They ended up losing that one. They got absolutely dominated in that game, right? Like, I remember Rodri and Fernandinho looked absolutely lost in midfield. And KDB was injured for that game as well, right? He came off injured or something like that. And then they had the league game versus Aston Villa. They conceded really early in that game from the McGinn chance. And then they just dominated the game after that. Like, Foden was like, he pretty much had a masterclass performance. Bilva got 2 assists, right? Bernardo Silva.
Yeah.
And then their most recent game, the Carabao Cup final, that they beat Spurs 1-0. I mean, I didn't watch that game because I assumed City was going to win. And from what I heard, it was supposed to be more than one goal. Like, City dominated that game.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I heard. Like I heard that Ryan Mason set up a really bad team, and like he set up for the team to lose at the end of the day.
I mean, it's Ryan Mason. He's not really a coach, so
yeah, he's 29 years old.
Yeah,
youngest coach ever. In the Premier League
ever. Eddie Howe wasn't younger.
Maybe, I don't know when he came. I'm talking about like Premier League.
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know. I wouldn't really count Ryan Mason as a manager. Sorry.
Yeah, fair enough. Not a permanent manager.
Yeah. All right. Let us make some predictions for this game.
2-0 City. I don't think it's going to be that, like, tense of a game.
Yeah, like City just kind of need to wrap the title up as well. Like,
exactly.
I mean, at one point, it kind of looked like United could kind of catch them, right? They were, like, 8 points behind with, like, a game in hand or something crazy like that. But I think, like, United dropping points against Leeds kind of took the pressure off. And now, yeah, City need, like, a big win sort of thing. Like, get the Champions League done with, seal the league up, like that pressure. And they just got a trophy. So, surely they're going to be bouncing for that game.
Yeah.
Right? So, I'm going to go with a 4-0 win to Man City. I think they're just gonna cruise against Crystal Palace. What about the picks that you have for Man City?
Again, one of those things where, like, keep an eye out on, like, rotation. Fernandinho is like 30. I wrote it wrong. I don't know what I wrote, but I think he's like 36 or 46% owned.
Yeah.
Ferran Torres 47% owned. Like, expect rotation and expect these players. And I think a lot of players were dropped, like the Alexis Zinchenko, Mendy, over like the blank game week because people are trying to make a break. So you might be able to get one of them too. So
yeah, that's true. Just watch the lineups. That's how I've realized for Chelsea and Man City is even like the strategy for how we're gonna draft next season. It's gonna be different, man. Like, you ideally want players that are gonna play almost every game in the season and contribute as much as possible, right? You can't. Yeah. I mean, as great as it is to pick up, Ziyech so early or Timo Werner so early, it sucks that when you spend such a high draft position that you don't have a guaranteed player every game week. And that can really fuck you up long term in the season. So either get all the Chelsea players and all the City players or don't get any, I don't know. Alright, the picks from Crystal Palace, I'm not going to give you any because the ones under 50 are not worth it. I mean, I feel like the only one you could probably get is Christian Benteke because he seems to be a player that keeps bouncing on and off the waiver wire.
Yeah.
All right, Ross, let's look at the next game, Brighton versus Leeds. Let's catch up on some news. Brighton, they played Sheffield United, had that impressive 1-0 loss. I don't know if you were able to catch anything from the game.
I did catch a good chunk of that game, and again, like nothing super exciting, nothing super like Brighton weren't really fighting for it.
No, but standard Brighton, create chances, miss everything.
Yeah.
How did Mope miss that chance, by the way?
Exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Like you've said it multiple times that, like Welbeck was right behind him. He leaves a ball and Welbeck slots that ball in.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we saw Izquierdo.
Yeah, that was a good thing after 2 years of injury, and I know you're a personal fan favorite as well.
Because they said 2 years ago he was playing, or 3 years ago he was playing, and he had this wonderful goal, and I was like, yeah, I had him for that game.
Hey.
He gave me 20 points for that game, and I'm like, but yeah, I was really happy to see him. Really happy to see him back.
He nearly scored a worldie as well. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh yeah. Like the shot, exactly. Like very Izquierdo-esque.
Yeah, very, man. He looks like he was never injured. But I think Mope is probably due a goal. He has a knack of scoring against Leeds as well, his opponents, for this game week. So I feel like Mope is due, man. After you miss such an easy chance, you gotta score, man. All right. For Leeds, I mean, same stuff. We kind of talk about their improvement in terms of their defensive numbers and their defensive performance. Dallas playing in midfield. They just look a lot sturdier. But without Rafinha, they're missing that attacking oomph, right? No Rodrigo as well. It was a fairly cagey game against Manchester United. They kind of snuffed out everything United tried to do. And they didn't really have anything going forward. It was perfect stalemate that sort of way. Yeah.
It did not live up to the hype.
Yeah, they did not, the game at all. Especially how I want to say the first leg went when it was 6-1, right? The reverse fixture. Yeah. It was at United as well. It was good to see Struijk and Llorente cope without Cooper, right? They still managed to get some points. So let's make some predictions for this one, though.
1-1.
You notice Brighton is really struggling to score goals even though they're controlling games and they look solid defensively?
Yeah, but I feel like you said, Mope might be due a goal. Playing the numbers game, I think they might be due a goal.
Yeah. Honestly, that 1-1 is a good shout. Man, Ross, can I steal your prediction, mate? Because it is the most sensible prediction ever. Because, if Brighton... Man, but will Brighton score? That's the question. So, I'll be different. I will say Leeds are going to win this 1-0.
Well, then my pick would be perfect because then I'm suggesting Diego Llorente, who's 18% owned.
There you go. And I think the reason I'm going to say 1-0 to Leeds is because if Leeds have improved defensively and Brighton are struggling to score, that is basically the summary of my prediction, right? So, yeah. So the picks I'm going to suggest are pretty much defenders. And one midfielder, though. Dan Burn, 22% owned. He's getting rotated in and out of the squad. But if you can time it right and pick him up as soon as lineups come out, he's a beast ghost points getter.
Yeah.
The other picks that I have, Bissouma, 45% owned. This guy's just getting mad ghost points as well. Webster, 42% owned, just came back from injury. Again, if you think Brighton are going to keep a few more clean sheets from now until the rest of the season, then, maybe bank on him. Then the same thing can be said for Sanchez, their goalkeeper, 46% owned. So I saw an interesting stat as well, actually. So since Tuchel joined Chelsea, the top 5 teams for, the least goals conceded, Chelsea, 8 goals, Brighton, 10 goals, United, 10 goals, Man City, 11 goals, and Wolves, 12 goals.
4 of those goals were in one game.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, so Wolves have actually been decent defensively, right? But we talked about Burnley just being, due, a win being due, a goals being due because of their effort and how they've changed their playing style. But yeah, so these Brighton
We'll
boys...
talk about it, yeah.
Yeah, if you think they can keep the clean sheet, go pick them up. Worst case, Leeds will shoot a lot, Sancho will get save points. Alright, let's go to the next game. Chelsea versus Fulham. Catch up on the Chelsea boys. So, the game against West Ham, you talked about Aspi playing right wing back, right? He got into the box quite a bit as well.
Quite a bit, yeah. Exactly, I saw that. That was good for him.
So he could get some attacking returns.
If he continues to play there, because I'm thinking, because he played back-to-back games as a right wing back, but at the same time, if Tuchel thinks that this might be his best lineup in the moment, then continue playing Aspi till, he also came off early in the Premier League game, right? Like, he came off around the 87th minute, not super early.
No.
Gave Reece James a run at the end, but I'm thinking players like Cho might be more useful than who are way more offensively minded than like Reece James.
Yeah, and Tuchel rotation, don't even try to predict it. He's worse than Pep, honestly.
Yeah.
But Timo scored. So happy he scored. Massive 6-pointer game we mentioned earlier. Ross, you enjoyed his points. I enjoyed his points. We should have gotten more points. He should have scored that second goal from that Mount shot or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think he will get you points from now until the end of the season. He looks like he's starting to get a bit more confidence. Like, he's joking around, making jokes about missing goals and stuff. So, yeah, you know what? I think even for next season, he might be a much better pick than this season.
Yeah.
So there was also one thing I wanted to bring up was Mason Mount, man. Do you think he's arguably a first round pick for next season?
I think so. I saw that he has already played 100 games. His ghost points, his ability to shoot the ball on net, and his ability to find players and set pieces too. So
he was supposed to get an assist for that Tammy chance. I can't believe Tammy missed the open fucking goal from so close. I don't know if you saw that header that he skied over inside the 6-yard box.
I haven't seen the highlights yet.
It was a pretty terrible miss. Yeah, definitely go take a look at that.
Mason Mount is making his 100th Chelsea appearance in just his second season.
And it wasn't a case of Mason Mount being Frank's boy. New coach immediately recognized his talent and was like, yo, we know what Mason can offer, sort of thing. We know what Mason can do. And we were worried about, the first few games he was kind of getting benched and kind of getting eased into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mason took his chance and fucking first round pick probably. So, Fulham.
Yeah.
They're pretty much relegated at this point, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think so.
They keep conceding late goals, man.
It sucks for them, and I, you know how much I've, prop them up sometimes, but they've missed scoring goals and creating chances so much this season.
Let's make some predictions then.
0-0.
I can't believe you have that. I can't believe you have that written down. Okay, can you please explain to me why you don't think we're gonna score against Fulham?
I think Chelsea have found some gap between them and 5th. I think knowing they have a really key Champions League game coming up against Madrid, they might rotate a bit more, right? Not play the full 11. I think you might still see the likes of Ziyech play. You might still see the likes of
Kai?
Yeah, Kai play, but I think at the same time, though they haven't been getting a lot of game time.
Yeah.
And in the Premier League, if you don't get a lot of game time, it takes a bit to kind of catch up.
Yeah.
So they might be just a bit slow in terms of Fulham that game, and I think Fulham will want to fight for it. So, and one thing Fulham's strong for is their defense.
Yeah.
So, if they might not be able to score goals, at least they can do is not concede any goals, right? That just my reasoning.
This is a home game and away game for both teams.
Yeah, bro. Fulham Road Stadium.
Oh, man. All right. So the prediction I'm going to give, though, 1-0 to us. I think we'll just get the 3 points, job done, professional. I have a feeling you might see some players in some interesting positions, like how we saw Mason Mount in that double pivot, second number 6 sort of position next to Jorginho.
Mm.
Like you said, because of the rotation for the Champions League semi-final, the second leg.
Kai might play striker.
Yeah, there's also that chance as well. Yeah. All right, so the picks that we're going to suggest, Ross. Who do you have from Fulham?
Mitrovic, 39%. There are other players like Robinson and stuff that you'll probably get most Fulham players at this point, but like it's like a Sheffield situation at this point, right? Like I don't think there's any players from Fulham that would make or break your game week.
You know, though, what sounds crazy is that I would actually probably pick a couple Sheffield United players over Fulham players, like McGotrick.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to be a bit of a surprise, but I was going to suggest McGotrick, man.
all right. Sorry about that. But the picks that I have from Chelsea that I'm going to suggest, Ross, I mean, good news. I'm going to suggest Cho, 46% owned. Again, you talk about the rotation. There's a chance that he could play. He could also play with the likes of James, right? And the other pick that I'm going to suggest is Christensen. He seems to be getting game time while Aspie's been pushed from right centre-back to right wing-back, right? So maybe Christensen could be a shrewd pick for the playoffs. 40% owned. Go pick him up. All right, Ross, let's look at the next game, final game on the Saturday. Everton versus Aston Villa. Let's catch up. Everton.
I think they got lucky against Arsenal in the sense that like Arsenal should have scored. That Arsenal should have gotten that penalty. It was the slightest bit of a foul, but there was contact.
The Ceballos-Richarlison contact, yeah.
There was the slightest bit of contact, but there was contact. You saw a kick on the shin. You've seen a penalty for much less. I feel like Arsenal, for the sake of consistency, I feel like Arsenal lost a penalty there. And Arsenal got super unlucky with the own goal that burned Leno, right? But like, I think Arsenal played a lot better in that game.
Yeah, I mean, when we were making our predictions last episode, you made a strong point that Everton's away form is what is keeping them up this season, right?
Yeah.
Or not keeping them up, but giving them a fighting chance for the European spot or whatever. So there was always a chance that Everton was going to nick something from this, let's say. But the crazy thing is, I keep seeing these stats that Carlo Ancelotti, teams that he's managed, they've never finished lower than 6th position. And this was like their first away win at Arsenal in like 25 years. So I know when we were making our like top 6 predictions and stuff, I had Everton to kind of drop off and, you know, be nothing. But they're kind of grinding out results while not playing well.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that Liverpool have been dropped the last couple of games has definitely helped Everton come back into the picture.
Yeah.
Right? So, but yeah, I feel like Everton are showing just a bit more fight, but like sometimes they'll just be silent for the whole game and they'll get the win.
Yeah.
Which why I think against Aston Villa might not happen, because Aston Villa are a bit more sound. Like they've got good defensive assets in their team.
Yeah.
Right? Their center back duo, their goalkeeper, and their fullbacks, I think, are a really good cohesive unit.
Yeah, but I mean, Martinez has to make a lot of good saves a lot of the time. So it's not like Aston Villa don't concede chances.
Yeah, I think that's true. But at the same time, like, Mings is very towering. Konsa is very towering. And Matty Cash and Matt Target do a good job in terms of getting back and forth.
For sure. The way, like, the organization, and they're a lot more put together than some of the other defenses in the league.
I mean, they've got the likes of Craig Shakespeare and John Terry as assistant coaches to Dean Smith, right? So obviously having one of the best Premier League defenders be your coach, right, for these upcoming English defenders, for these upcoming English players, definitely helps. So you definitely see that influence immediately with that. So that's why I don't think Aston Villa will get rolled over. Like, players like Keenan Davis are having a huge impact off the bench, right?
Yeah, he's been looking good in his small little cameos.
Exactly. Like, you know, one goal against right at the end, you know, just like make sure he was at the right place at the right time. A couple of games ago, he had the assist, right? So, like, one of those things, without Jack Grealish, they haven't looked super bad.
That's true. And Matty Target's taking corners now. We talked about that as well. So if you can kind of try to get him, he seems to be getting ghost points easily that way. There's another sort of draft question that I have for you, though. Ollie Watkins, next season, which round can you see him going? Or which round would you try and take him in?
4th round. 5th round. 4th, 5th round. Yeah. Like one of those strikers, like a Mitrovic type striker. At this when he was coming up, right? Not how Mitrovic played this season, but like when he was kind of coming up. So yeah. But I think Aston Villa aren't doing too poorly. They just obviously they're missing Grealish, man. Grealish was their glue. Grealish made that team. Like that's 100% there. But we're seeing some positive highlights with Ross Barkley, El Ghazi, and Bertrand Traore supporting, and John McGinn too. Like John McGinn is a great player that it defends, like a great box to box. So
yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting game. Like this one is a little tough to call. But what prediction are you gonna go with?
2-2.
A RAS special. All right, you know what? I'm gonna downgrade your special. I'm not gonna supersize my fries, so I'm gonna go with a 1-1 draw. Yeah, because I think it's one of those close games.
Yeah.
What about the assets that you're gonna suggest from Aston Villa?
Like not anyone, but Keenan Davis. He's been a good impact sub. Like I said, 1 goal last game, 1 assist the game before. And if you play with auto subs, right? I think maybe not now, but maybe when you have the blank game weeks, pick up players like Keenan Davis who might be able to come off the bench and get you points.
Yeah, and the player I'm going to suggest is Seamus Coleman, 37% owned. Been shouting him for the last few game weeks, the last few episodes. And again, he responded with more points. I think he got around 14 or 15 points, including the clean sheet. So Coleman's ticking along right now. If you can go get him, enjoy his purple patch while you can. Alright, moving on to Sunday. First game on that day, Newcastle versus Arsenal. Catch up with Newcastle. You would have watched them play and how they performed. I don't know if you've noticed that Newcastle has started to play out from the back. Like, they're trying to ball play with their defenders.
Yeah.
And it's not working well at all. Like...
No, because Liverpool should have scored those chances against Newcastle, man.
Like, Dubravka had to make a lot of good saves. Like, Dubravka kept them in that game a lot.
Yeah.
And Joe Willock, the kid does it again, man. 3 goals, 3 games off the bench. What did Arsenal not see in this kid?
Yeah, man. And, Arsenal are super lucky he's not going to be playing against them.
Yeah, parent club issues. Yeah. And Wilson almost scored that game as well. They had that weird, how we talk about VAR and their handball bullshit rules. ASM was dribbling almost everybody. Fabinho nearly annihilated this guy, Ras.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that
Sanji,
tweet?
I will.
You should retweet it.
I was gonna say, ASM, the past couple of weeks, he had that really classy tweet where a fan said that you should trade Mane Liverpool should take ASM and send Mane to Newcastle, and ASM very humbly said that Mane has done so much for Liverpool. I'm nowhere near at Mane's level. You should give him that respect, right? Super classy person. And then he tweeted later on, for those who saw the game, where Fabinho essentially
obliterated,
destroyed. Yeah, that's the word. ASM by like barging into him, and he was like, the tweet was, "Oh, I'm gonna beat Fabinho to the ball," and then he goes like Fabinho sunglasses emoji, and then ASM.
we need to retweet it. All right, we definitely have to.
Yeah, it was a really funny tweet,
God.
man.
Yeah,
but you're right.
Arsenal though, what the fuck was that own goal by Leno, bro? Why the hell did they not keep Emmy? Like, it was so bad. He's been having really bad moments as well.
Yeah. But I think Bernd Leno generally has bad moments, but he's not a bad goalkeeper. He's a really good goalkeeper.
Yeah.
He's like a David Luiz. he will give you 9 out of 10 good games, but that 10th game is gonna be so bad that you're just be like, bro, what are you doing? And at like key moments.
Wait, I thought David Luiz was the other way around. It's 9 bad games on 1 really good game.
One good. Maybe I'm like Chelsea David Luiz.
Yeah.
Not
okay.
Arsenal David Luiz.
But yeah, I mean, they could have had a penalty. I mean, they got they got cheated by that VAR bullshit call where Pepe should have had the penalty, right? I think his sponsor was offside. Is that what it was? The sponsor badge? Is that? Yeah,
I think so.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, the point on Ceballos, even though he should have won that pen, he's been putting up good points recently. He's been even playing better, right? He's gotten the opportunity to play in midfield because Xhaka is now playing that left back / left centre back role. So
yeah,
I mean, Arsenal okay, but you want to make a prediction maybe for this one?
2-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, that seems about right. So is this one of those games where Arsenal's on the up, Ross? Because they were on the down, yeah?
Yeah, this is Arsenal on the up. Even though they're supposed to be on the down they were supposed to be on the up last week, but I think Arsenal will be on the up this week. And like 2-1 is maybe giving Arsenal a bit more, like not fully, like, you know, not full credits, because I think Arsenal can win this game 3-0, and they might win this 3-0, but playing it safe 2-1 just because you can't trust Arsenal's defense either.
Well, I am going for a Ross special 2-2 because I think Callum Wilson could be back and he could be back in the goals again because Arsenal's defense is trash without Kieran Tierney.
Yeah.
But who are the picks that you're going to suggest?
Martinelli, 44% owned, and Thomas Partey, 41% owned. Partey especially because if you have that extra scoring with the ball recoveries and stuff, I think Partey makes a really good player through that too.
That's a great shout because, I mean, he got you those 9.5 points, including a yellow card, not so?
Including a yellow card. And, like, you know, like, he
gets key passes and stuff too.
Exactly, his creativity. Like, he had that really good assist a few game weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know, the deep ball from the middle of the field to the player up top. So, yeah.
Good shout. Well, from Newcastle, I'm going to suggest Murphy and Richie. They're playing in those wing-back spots, but they're midfielders. Murphy 10% owned, Richie 22% owned. Share set pieces, free kicks, all those sort of yada points. Joelinton, 35% owned. A kind of asterisk, because if Callum Wilson's coming back into the squad, Joelinton was actually poor in the game against you guys. Because ASM was doing all the work, but when Joelinton needed to provide that touch of class or that final pass, kept failing, like, wasn't good enough, right? He's a good workhorse, but the talent falls short compared to his teammates. And the last player that I'm going to suggest is a player that I picked up myself. I dropped Rui Patricio. I picked up Dubravka. He's been getting a lot of saves, and Newcastle are conceding chances. If Newcastle need to stay up, they're going to need the help from Dubravka. And I think Darlow has an injury, so his spot could be nailed.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next game, Manchester United versus Liverpool. Ross, this is a tasty fixture. Are you looking forward to this one?
Not really. I've given up on the season, right?
Yeah.
I'm only focusing on fantasy at this point.
It is a nice release to have. Seeing
some of like United's previous performances, not United, but Bruno especially, I think this is a game where Nat Phillips would be super key because they'll look to put in those corners and the like loose shots corners and stuff like that. So you need that aerial threat or that aerial duel to kind of like combat Harry Maguire, because I think Bruno's been dropping off recently, and I'm lucky I'm playing up against. I'm not gonna say I'm lucky, but if Bruno keeps playing and keeps putting up not the same numbers, it's good I'm playing against like Khayyam, who has Bruno, and I hope like it kind of continues.
Yeah.
But realistically, like United, I think they've essentially sealed that second spot. So
they might take it easy.
They might take it easy. They'll be coming from a Thursday game too, which would like, you know, another trophy, right? Like, let's not, like, they're going up against Roma too, so not an easy team. And so like for me, Liverpool, what was it? Last two games, they've they've had 54 shots and scored like 2 goals, which is insane.
Yeah, your front three could have had hat tricks, all three of them against Newcastle.
So, like, they're pressing well, but they're not finishing their chances. They're like, they're looking for placement rather than just shooting the ball. Like I've said it so many times, just shoot the ball instead of like, trying to like dink the goalkeeper or trying to like beat the goalkeeper and trying to score. Like, I don't know why you're trying to go for that, especially if you're low on confidence, right? I would rather you just shoot the ball 100 times than like trying to beat the keeper and like not get a shot 50 of those times. It's been really annoying to watch Liverpool's highlights and watch Liverpool play because they'll drop off in like the final 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and like more teams will keep pressing and teams will keep pressing. And then the last 2 games where we missed like Nat Phillips, like aerial threat, that's been what's been the downfall. So I really hope Fabinho comes back in the midfield and Nat Phillips comes back as the center back, because I honestly see us kind of finishing 7th and 8th if we keep playing the way that we're playing.
It's funny that you mentioned that. So I have a few tables, stats about Liverpool. Apparently, Liverpool have gotten 5 points versus the bottom 6, like at Anfield this season. So at Anfield this season versus the bottom 6, their results, so versus Sheffield, it was a win 2-1. Versus West Brom, it was a draw 1-1. Versus Burnley, it was a loss 1-0. Versus Brighton, it was a loss 1-0. Versus Fulham, it was a loss 1-0. And versus Newcastle, the 1-1 draw. So, yeah, you guys have had some really, really poor results. But, I mean, you talk about the attacking numbers. You guys have been playing well. If you want to compare the 2019-20 season and the 2020-21 season, this season. So, last season, your shots per game, 15.6. This season, 15.5. Your conversion rate last season, 14.4%. This season, 10.7%.
Yeah.
Your expected goals last season, 1.7. Your expected goals, 1.6. So it's really not too far off, but it really is just a matter of Mane's had a bad season because Salah has still responded. Salah is almost matching some of his 20 goals. He's gonna fight for Golden Boot with ease, right? But Mane has just not stepped up, right?
Yeah.
So that I think has been the biggest, maybe the lack of goal sort of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just because I don't think you can just be like, oh, Van Dijk out, Joe Gomez out. The attacking players still need to do their job.
Exactly. I think at the start we were able to adapt really quick, but our ability, obviously it sucks. You lose 3 of your main defenders in the same season for the whole season, right? Obviously that sucks, but like when Liverpool of 2016, 2017, we had a horrible defense. But we could score goals like it was nobody's business.
Yeah.
We put 4 against Manchester City, who were running away with the league. And they still ran away with the league. But we ended their goal streak by scoring 3 goals in the span of like 8 minutes. And completely stunned them. Right?
Yeah.
Our front 3 has had such a great impact in terms of like what, like, the front 3 of like, everyone would be like, this is the golden standard.
Mm-hmm.
Spurs, Kane, Son, Bale, this is the golden standard. This is what you're going up. This is what you're trying to achieve, right? But this season, they haven't kept up to those things. Yeah, like we've had players who've done really well recently too. Like I think Robertson had a really good start to the season. He dropped off in a bit, but he's been playing really well recently. Trent, again, like showing some of that class, showing some of that, like he's a 20-year-old who's playing like he's been like, playing football for, like, Steven Gerrard level.
I mean, since March 7th, TA has created the most chances in the Premier League with 16. Guess who's tied with him, though?
Luke Shaw.
Yeah.
Trivia bank. So, yeah, you want to just go on to, like, the predictions? Because we could talk for hours.
I know. So, what score predictions? What are you calling?
0-0.
Oh, God. That's so boring.
Yeah, but Liverpool United games have sometimes become so boring in recent history, man.
But you guys badly need that win, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 0-0 if Nat Phillips plays, though. Let's be honest. Right? If Nat Phillips is not playing, it could be a different scoreline.
We'll probably lose if Nat Phillips doesn't play.
Okay. All right. Then I will go for a Liverpool 2-1 win.
Interesting.
Because you guys really need a win.
Yeah, but like
if you're not gonna do it against the small teams, you'll do it against a big team, right?
Yeah, that's the Liverpool way.
And you're not playing at home, so that's why. It's a massive reason to give you guys something from it. Okay, picks.
So last week I said Nat Phillips would be back. Hope he's back this week. He's 37% owned. You know what? I would really like to see Jurgen Klopp play Curtis Jones. Put some of that scouse on that pitch. Bring that scouse passion. Even if he plays him for 60 minutes, he's going to give it his all because it's a big derby game.
Yeah, so I think for that sort of big game, you'll need a big midfield as well. And I think Fred could probably do something. It could be a battle of the midfield, right? So 28% own, go pick him up. All right, so let's look at the last game on the Sunday, Spurs versus Sheffield United. All right, so quick notes. So Spurs didn't play this game week. So since then, their last game, they played versus Everton. That was when Mourinho was playing, right? So I don't know if you really want to talk about that game too much. That was a game that Kane looked ultra sharp, got a brace, got his ankle fucked up by Richarlison falling on it. But then, they played that game versus Southampton after Mourinho had left. Gareth Bale looks like he was back to his best again. Lloris made some crucial saves in that game. Move on to the final versus Man City. It was basically nothing. Like, they did not show up. And now let's look at Sheffield United. They are officially relegated, playing with nothing to lose. But McGoldrick is talking and, telling his players, listen, we still have a job to do. Like, we still have the championship to play for. Like, our job is not done just because we're out of the league. Like, we still need to represent our club and play for the fans, right? Give the fans everything. So,
yeah. How
do you see this game going? Because Spurs need a reaction.
Yeah, I think Spurs might get that reaction. 2-0.
Yeah.
Like one of those things. Yeah, Sheffield will give it their all because they want to be, they want to play with their fans, but at the end of the day, like, there's a reason why they've had the worst top flight season in a while. So
yeah, my prediction will be 3-1 to Spurs. I don't trust Spurs and their clean sheet. McGoldrick to get a goal, man. Mm-hmm. What are the picks that you're gonna suggest?
Like you ruined my surprise earlier. McGoldrick is probably the only player, in my opinion, especially because Spurs will definitely be able to put past a couple of goals. But yeah, McGoldrick, 25% owned.
And for Spurs, I don't think you're going to be able to get anybody. And I'm not sure what Ryan Mason's going to do, if he's going to play Ali or Lo Celso or Lamela. So it could just be one of those watch and see sort of things, right? All right, so Monday, there's 2 games in the afternoon. First one, West Brom versus Wolves. Quick notes about that. West Brom, I feel like they should have probably won that game versus Aston Villa if they wanted to really give themselves a chance of staying up. Because now I think they need to, it's a must win at least 4 of their next 5 games. And I think this is called the Black County Derby.
Yeah, it is a derby game, yeah.
So it is a very massive fixture. And they thrashed Wolves in the reverse leg, let's call it. Wolves, though, oh my god, 4-0 versus Burnley. So sloppy, poor defending, on the beach, Bowley making so many mistakes. I feel like it's just one of those things where they just really need the season to end and the next season to start, right?
Yeah, like they've been super unlucky with like season-ending injuries too, man. Like Jimenez, Pedro Neto, right? You've had players with COVID and stuff too.
Doherty went to Spurs and then they lost Johnny to like the MCL and ACL.
Sykes has been in and out of the team.
Marçal got surgery as well. Yeah.
So Willy Bolly's been in and out of the team. So
yeah, there is one interesting thing though. I saw you drop Podence in one of our leagues. I know he's putting up the performances, but the points are just not following. You want to explain that move?
I have Adama Traore and Ruben Neves. It's too many players from one game, right? So
that's fair.
It's like, I'm like, man, I still have him in my other league.
Yeah. In
the Banter Boys league, but
why not trade him?
I don't think anyone's going to go for Podence at the moment.
Fair.
Like, I was like, you know what? I'd rather I think I picked up Cho instead of
Oh, well, Podence, yeah, it's not a bad... So, see, that's another thing that I also try to consider is when you don't get trades from other players, I consider the waiver wire or the free agency pool as like another person I'm trading with.
Exactly.
And if I was to like make a trade with somebody and do like, let's say, like you said, Cho for
Podence.
Podence, yeah. Yeah, Cho for Podence. Like, you would probably do that trade right now, right? Given Podence's output and seeing as Cho has the ability to get like 5 key passes in a game and like, yeah, is very attacking when he comes on. And is sometimes more often a sub than not, right? So, yeah, it was just an interesting thing I want to bring up. All right, predictions for the game?
2-1 West Brom.
Must win, yeah. Okay, you know what? I'm going to give it a 3-1 to West Brom then. Hopefully the likes of Matheus Pereira and Diagne show up. But what are the picks you're going to suggest from Wolves?
No one really. Like, I know it's a big derby game, and like I think most of the players who you want are already picked up. So,
do you think I should drop Bowley? Do you think it's worth keeping him?
I think the Burnley game was an aberration. I don't think it's going to be a consistent thing.
Because he conceded 4 goals and got positive 0.25 points.
Yeah, so, like, you know.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. All right, West Brom, the picks I'm going to suggest. John Stone, 45% owned, been making a lot of saves recently. And Diagne, 35% owned. I know he had that one blip where he got 0 points that game, but I think he might be able to nick something against Wolves.
Yeah.
All right, last game, Burnley versus West Ham. Chris Wood, hat-trick, 51 points. I'm so happy that I got to experience that while watching the game. Even though I lost the matchup, it was really cool to you know, just have that experience.
It was a really good performance in terms of like how, like, you know, great positioning, a proper number 9.
Yeah.
Could have had a couple of more goals.
I mean, who would have thought that if you play Vidra with Wood, Burnley would score goals, eh?
You play 2 strikers, you're going to get goals. Oh, that's a interesting take.
Yeah, I know. But it was really good to see Charlie Taylor back, right? We said that even though he didn't get any attacking returns, he put up great ghost points. And Burnley were just winning all the 50-50 challenges. What was the stat? Oh yeah, I'll bring out another stat about Chris Wood, his Premier League record for Burnley. In the last 4 seasons, he's consecutively scored at least 10 goals every season.
Yeah, he's up with the likes of Vardy, Salah. I'm forgetting. I remember seeing the tweet, but he's up with the likes of, like, you know, these top premier, like, you know, golden boot level players. So
his underlying attacking data numbers is actually really good. Like, it kind of backs up the way that he's been playing. If you watch him play these days, he looks like really confident on it, like just really, really sharp. Like the first goal that he scored against Wolves, that tight angle finish, says it all.
Yeah, exactly. And like I was gonna say, I think maybe at the start of the season, I don't know if you remember, this was a while ago, is 40 episodes ago when we were talking about Burnley as like a team preview, we said Chris Wood is a solid 10 goal a season striker.
Yeah, we did.
And he will get you 10 goals. Yeah.
So said, so done. Last thing on Burnley though, you know, I always gotta hit up my boy Sean Dyche. They interviewed him after the game. The commentator was like, so you must be sleeping a lot better after this great result for your team. He was like, no, not really. I've been sleeping good quite well all the past few nights.
Man, why do they ask these questions, man? Like, it's so...
Stupid? Yeah, I know. Dyche with the bands, man. Love that guy. Alright, West Ham, let's quickly run through some stuff. They didn't have their first shot on target against us until the 55th minute. I mean, to be fair, they were missing a lot of people from this game, right? The Balbuena red card. Was it a red card?
No.
Very embarrassing decision by the ref.
Yeah, David Moyes said the person who made that decision has never played football in a day in their lives.
I mean, the lack of consistency. Look at the Soufal challenge on
Rudiger. Exactly. So, right. And that was just a few minutes before or after, right? So,
yeah, like, it was.
You know, VAR doing VAR things.
Yeah, boy. All right. Make a prediction.
1-0 Burnley.
Ooh, nice and simple. You don't think West Ham is gonna have a 3-2 or a 3-3? Bro, you know I'm gonna go for the 3-3, right? Wood just scored a hat-trick. He scored another hat-trick, bro.
Yeah. 1-0 Burnley, though.
Alright, I'll give 3-3, though. 3-3. You know, West Ham just love 3 goals, you know. Go back to the regular scheduled programming. The picks that you're gonna suggest from West Ham, though?
no one, like Ben Johnson is there 2%, Ryan Fredericks is 11%, and Ben Rama's there for 20%. But like they've been pretty disappointing lately, even if if they're starting or if they're coming off the bench. So like most of the players are probably gone from West Ham, man.
Yeah, that's true. So there's only one player I'm going to suggest from Burnley under 50%. Charlie Taylor, 20%. I can't believe it's this low, but I guess he's been away for that long, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, good ghost points with no attacking returns, and Burnley are still trying to fight to win as many points as they can, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're safe, but still, they will be fighting. All right, and that is picks, that's predictions, and that is it. Ross, that's all we had planned. Before we sign off, a couple of quick things. There's a social media blackout this weekend, right? From 3 p.m. Friday until Monday, May 3rd, 11:59 p.m. So if you don't see, your favorite footballer posting his selfie after scoring a goal, it's because they're standing against racism.
Yeah.
It's pretty important. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that I thought was really funny, I don't know if you noticed or realized, all of the Super League teams in the EPL dropped points this game week.
Chelsea didn't.
Was it this game week or the previous game week? The previous game week. Sorry, the previous game week.
Yeah,
the previous game week. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I guess United won before the announcement came out, so they don't count.
Yeah, exactly. It was around the Super League sort of time, right? Because we dropped points to Brighton or whatever like that. But yeah, it was just like an interesting thing that kind of jumped out. All right, Ross, so before we sign off, you want to remind listeners how they can message us and find our episodes?
Yeah, so you can message us on Twitter and Instagram. Our handle is @BanterB. On Discord, on the Draft PL channel, Banter Boys, #6585. On Reddit, on the Draft PL subreddit, u/Banter_boys. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud. You can listen to us on YouTube under the name Banter Boys.
All right. Good luck this game week. I'm playing you. We've got crucial matchups in our OG League as well. We need at least one win, both of us. So Good luck, mate. Best of luck. Any final points from you?
No, man. Let's just focus on fantasy and then not worry about the season.
All right. Well, I'll see you on the other side on the next episode.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.